The only one Cole mentioned was Lori.
Do you? No. No, I just was like, I knew we could fit it.
Okay, all done. You got her. You okay?
We're good. Nobody on.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this second meeting in June for the Milford City Council. And after calling to order, the last item on the agenda is to approve the agenda. And you can take notes here. We've got about 3 or 4 changes to the agenda. The first one is we did not make a time deadline on E1. So E1 will be tabled, and as a result, F1 will be tabled. That's item number 2. Number 1. Item number 2, I think Councilman Ziegel found this. That item F4 should actually be E4. And then we'll proceed to G5. I guess that's the end of that one. Get a chance, we're not playing bingo here, okay? G3.
Is that wrong?
Did you just say bingo? Cyrus is okay, just because there are 2 members that are not here tonight because of other obligations. J7, which is I know it's something that we've looked forward to for a long time, Park Audit Review. And I know the other 2 members have a big interest in Parks and Rec and so on, so if you're okay with that, we've got the document.
No, it was time to review it.
It was time to review it, yes. So those 3 or 4 changes there.
With those changes, assuming somebody wrote them down, I would do the approval of the agenda.
Second. Thank you, gentlemen. It's moved and seconded to approve the amended agenda with all exceptions, and we'll leave out all those, Marcia. If you're ready to vote on the agenda, all in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries. Next, we go to the communications part of the meeting, and the first part of that communication is anything unscheduled. If there's anybody here that wishes to speak on something that's not on tonight's agenda, they can do that at this point. Just come up to the microphone, introduce yourself, name and address, and here.
Council, Mayor, thank you. It's kind of getting real a little bit now, so I want to take a few minutes at my last council meeting and just say a few words if I could. As I'm preparing to retire, I want to take a moment to offer my deepest thanks to the community I've had the privilege to serve. Serving as police chief has been one of the greatest honors of my life. Over the years, I've witnessed the strength, compassion, and resilience that define our community. Whether it was coming together during difficult times, supporting one another through acts of kindness, or working side by side to create a safe and vibrant place to live and raise our families, which is what I did here. To city staff, community partners, neighborhood groups, schools, businesses, and residents, thank you for the support, your trust, your willingness to engage in open dialogue. True public safety is built on relationships, and it has been a privilege to build those relationships with so many of you. I remember coming here in '93 and starting the DARE program in our schools. It was already going with the State Patrol, but taking that over, and that was a key portion. 17 years of my career was doing the DARE program and building those relationships. To the men and women of our department, I want to express my deepest gratitude to every one of you. It's been an honor of a lifetime to serve alongside such dedicated, courageous, and brave professionals. As I step away from this role, I do so with confidence in the future of the department because I know it's in capable hands. I'm proud of all we've accomplished together, and even prouder to have called you colleagues and friends. Thank you for your service, your sacrifices, and allowing me the privilege of leading this incredible team. I want to take this opportunity to officially welcome Chief Jason Blinks and express my full support as you take on the responsibilities and privileges of leading the Mount Vernon-Lisbon Police Department. Although I'm stepping away from the badge, my heart will always remain in this community. I leave with pride in what we've accomplished and the faith with those who continue to work. Thank you for allowing me to be part of something so meaningful. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. To say this would be appropriate for a standing ovation. Taking care of it. It was spontaneous. Thank you very much, Chief. And I know, speaking for myself and probably a lot of past mayors, you don't recognize how lucky you are to have a police force and police leadership like what we've had with under your tenure. And it makes our life a lot easier. It makes it a lot easier working in the community and being a part of the community, knowing that you're making good decisions on our behalf. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been a privilege.
Thank you very much. On to the next thing? All right, move on.
Come on.
Part of this transfer of authority and power here, there's an oath of office. We'll do. Right here, okay?
That works for me.
Okay.
Do you want your sheet?
Okay. Are we ready? I state your name.
I, Jason Blinks,
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my ability,
and that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my ability,
discharge all the duties of the office of Chief of Police
discharge all the duties of the office of Chief of Police
in the cities of Mount Vernon and Lisbon,
in the cities of Mount Vernon and Lisbon,
is now and hereafter required by law.
as now and hereafter required by law.
And this is witnessed this 16th day of June 2025 in the city of Mount Vernon and under my signature. So thank you very much and congratulations. Congratulations to all you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let it be known. I think we are now to the consent agenda, the 5 items, and is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve.
Second. Moved and seconded. Thank you, gentlemen. To approve the consent agenda. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? That motion carries. Moving on to public hearing, we're skipping F1. There you are. And the next agenda item is the public hearing on ordinance amending the U.S. Highway 30 master plan for the city of Mount Vernon. And I'll officially open that agenda. Open that meeting at this point. Is anybody here to speak to that agenda?
Just the line. Yeah.
Anybody else? Last call for the public meeting, public hearing? Okay, then we'll move on to F2, and that is ordinance 616-2025B, amending the U.S. Highway 30 master plan for the city of Mount Vernon. Any comments from staff?
Just essentially that we're extending the highway business 30 master plan to the north side to include the old motel site, Casey's, that general area. This was prompted actually by the new owner of the old motel site, so.
That's good.
Yeah, it's, hopefully when you do these plans, you can try to incorporate as much of the property as possible. This was just taking advantage of willing property owners.
I would move to approve ordinance 6-16-2025B, amending the U.S. Highway 30 master plan for the city of Mount Vernon.
Thank you, Craig. Is there a second by Mark?
I do have a question, just to clarify here.
We're discussing it.
So, with this amendment, would it pull in all the way like to Gary's and that?
It stops short of Gary's.
I couldn't quite tell at the point with the back.
Yes, Gary's would be, it kind of incorporates.
Oh, okay, so it comes,
Casey's.
oh, this is Gary's.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha, all right.
Yep.
Okay. So this would only come into play for the Mount Vernon Motel as he builds new stuff, for Roundabout Auto if they do some major renovations to the front?
Yeah,
something like that?
or were to happen to sell in the future or something like that, yeah. I mean, really this comes into play when they're making significant changes to the site or the building.
Okay, just wanted that clarification. Thank you.
Moved and seconded to move forward with this ordinance change, and if there are any other questions, comments of staff, I think we are ready for a roll call vote. Marcia.
Engel,
Yes.
Andreessen,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
And that motion passes. We're now back to E3, public hearing on ordinance amending chapter 165 zoning regulations, article 7, on accessory dwelling units. I'll officially open that public meeting. If there's anybody here to speak to that, you're welcome to step forward here. Hearing none, I guess we will close the public hearing at 6:42 and then move to F3. Ordinance of 616-2025C on chapter 165 zoning regulations, article 7, section 710, on accessory dwellings in the Mount Vernon Municipal Code. Any comments from staff? Dee's been working on this for quite a while probably, and as is the rest of the staff. Questions, comments?
Yeah, this is just some minor language changes to coincide with how we should actually be enforcing. With a comment where words become very important, the wrong words in the wrong areas have unintended consequences, and that's kind of what's been happening.
So we're cleaning up the intention of the
Yeah,
already
really,
adopted resolution.
the intent was not to limit detached garage structures to 144 square feet. So,
With that, I would move approval of ordinance 6-16-2025C, the amendment to the accessory buildings.
Thank you, Scott. Is there a second? Second. By Mark. Moved and seconded to move forward with 616-2025C. If there are no further questions from staff or comments, we'll move on to a roll call vote. Marcia.
Andreessen,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Engel,
Yes.
That ordinance passes. We are now to E4, which is actually F4. Public hearing for the plans, specifications, public contract, and estimate of costs for the 2025 Rachel Street Improvement Project. And that is a public hearing, so at 6:43 on my clock, I'll officially open the public meeting. If there's anybody here to speak to that, you're welcome to come forward. Seeing no one and hearing no one, and there's still nobody online, is that right?
Correct.
I'll officially close that public hearing, and is now open for discussion.
Here are the plan and specifications. They're at City Hall. Obviously, I do not scan them and send them to you because of their size. Engineer's estimates, $2.4 million. Quickstar will be joining that effort, I think, to the tune of $475,000, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
So right now, engineer's estimate's kind of right on schedule. This document, as soon as it gets bid, at the next meeting in July, is I believe when you will take action on the bid package.
I see Plaza Fence coming down, and is there a timeline for when that'll be done? And Quickstar can engage?
Plaza Spence or the infrastructure?
Both.
Plaza Spence is kind of moving at their own pace. As far as the infrastructure goes, my thought is we would bid it, we should have the winning bidder first part of July. Construction would likely start sometime in August. Could start as soon as July, but that's a fairly fast turnaround on contracts and bonds. But August is most likely. I do know, based upon a conversation I had with Quickstar last week, that they would love to move in April, which is ahead of schedule. And so we would work out an arrangement, believing that our project might not be done by the spring. We would just work out an arrangement similar to what we did with CHI when we were extending Glen, just to give them access to those improvements.
You don't mean move in as in be done and ready.
No.
Okay.
No, move in is in under construction. So,
You have to have the road there.
Yeah, okay.
for everybody in the audience, we were to have Rachel Street done by June of 26, and Quickstar was planning on moving in the fall of the 6th. Now they move, again, moving in is moving in for construction purposes. Now they would like to be there potentially in the spring, so they're
I like your plan better.
Right, I mean,
moving it up in the process.
If there aren't any other questions, I would move approval of Resolution 6-16-2025C, resolution adopting plan specifications, form, and contract for the Rachel Street Improvement Project.
Thank you, Craig.
I'll second.
Craig Scott. Moved and seconded to move forward with this Rachel Street Improvement Project. And that is another roll call vote, so Marcia.
Engel,
Yes.
Rose,
yes.
Andreessen,
Yes.
That ordinance passes as well. I think we're to resolution G1. Approving fiscal year 2025-2026 transfers. We got something from Marcia again today, maybe? The transfers? Or whatever. Anything to share?
This is typical, so we'll do a transfer resolution at the end of the fiscal year, and then we'll probably start in July with another transfer resolution at the beginning of the year as well. But our TIF payments to developers, moving, try to explain this as best I can. So we have approximately 30 to 40 different accounts, and city can't move money between those accounts just by simply contacting the bank and saying move the money. We have to go through a formal process saying we're going to move from this account to this account. Some of the money can go from account to account and some cannot. So this is our way of basically doing a general entry telling people where we're moving those funds from. And for instance, infrastructure went long, so we're moving money from local option sales tax to infrastructure to cover the cost of those projects. So outside of that, like I said, these are pretty common, covering bond payments, things like that, payments to Spring Meadow Heights and Stonebrook, our payment to ourselves for the low money income.
Any questions to staff about this 25-26 transfers process?
With that explanation, I would move approval of Resolution 6-16-2025A, approving the final fund transfers for this fiscal year.
Second. Scott and Mark, moving second to move forward 6-16-2025A. And if we're ready to vote on that, no further questions. Marcia?
Rose?
Yes.
Engel?
Yes.
Andreessen?
Yes.
That resolution passes. Resolution 2, 6-16-2025B, construction of certain public improvements, preliminary plans, pay for improvements known as the 2025 sidewalk improvements. There is a God. We're getting to this point. Thank you. Bradbury.
I will say,
Persistent.
thanks to we are actually getting past Northwest Quadrant this time around. So the Northwest Quadrant has been hit twice, and nobody else has been hit at all.
We're aware.
I know that I'm there too. But this will take care of the northeast and the southeast, which are the two next largest, I mean, as far as what I would consider a sidewalk to be. And then the final will be southwest.
You've got, I think you're the third person in this position that's been working on this project. You've got it farther than anybody else, so thank you, Lee.
Well, because we are a small town and a walkable town at that, and we want to remain so, I would move approval of Resolution 6-16-2025B, ordering construction for the continuation of the sidewalk project.
Thank you, Greg. Is there a second? Second. Mark. Moved and seconded, and well spoken, Craig there. To move forward with that sidewalk project, and a couple days ago I heard that there were several people that have called and are interested in it, so that's on the goal list. I think we're ready to vote on that resolution.
Engel?
Yes.
Andreessen?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
Motion carries. G3, we've already done that one. Did we?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
G4.
we're going to G4.
Approving disposal of municipal property. Got a list?
Yes. This time around, we will be getting rid of Hustler Mower, the old scoreboard from Davis Park, and then a number of different things from PD. Some of this will go on Gov Deals, those that we don't get any bids for, typically get landscaper scrapped. So. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was trying to jump on
I
that.
almost did the thumbs.
But everybody wants a handheld radar.
Baseball team.
That's the Vernon me.
Of the various folks that I spoke with, that did generate the most interest, to be honest with you.
They've got a left-handed pitcher that throws a good
Right.
fastball. They just want to see.
One guy talked about hooking it up to the Davis Park scoreboard so you could see the results live, buying them in conjunction. Anyway, with that being said, I would move approval of Resolution 6-16-2025B, approving the disposal of municipal property.
Second?
Thank you, gentlemen. Move and seconded to move forward the disposal of municipal property. Any other comments or questions? Ready to vote on that? Marcia?
Andreessen?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
Engel?
Yes.
And that resolution passes. 6-16-2025E. Minnesota City of Mount Vernon fee schedule for 25-26.
So all of these fee increases are associated with the Lester Burr Center. We do look at the LDC on a 2-year basis. People have asked you know, why do a 6 to 10% increase every 2 years and not just do a 3% every year? Generally speaking, talking to the membership, it just feels a little bit better to get a break every other year. We can't always say that it will be a 6 or 10% increase depending on what portion of the LBC we're looking at, but we're dealing with the same inflationary cost, supplies, and as you're going to see here shortly, wages. And I believe Senator Holly was thinking about introducing a bill to increase the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. So just kind of gives you an idea of where we're at when we started this journey slightly before COVID to where we're at today. So,
To go in January 1st, 2020 for 1 month using $40, 5 years later it'd be $46 doesn't seem outrageous.
no, I think we've done a really good job. I think two things have happened. Matt and Sarah have done an excellent job on streamlining costs associated with operation of the LBC. And again, looking at the every 2-year window, we've done realistic increases to make sure that we're not getting too far behind.
Yeah, and if you do a 1 year, it's only up $4 and change.
Yeah.
Correct. So, yeah, I would move approval of resolution 6-16-2025E, amending the city of Mount Vernon fee schedule for the LDC.
Second. Move the second to move forward the wage schedule for LBC. Thanks Matt and Sarah and whoever for putting this project together and coming up with this list. This is a voice vote, so if we have no other questions, ready to vote on this one? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Marcia's looking and saying, I think it's going to be a roll call.
Okay, I thought that's straight.
Engel,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Thank you for checking that. Now we are in a motion for approval for CHI Cottonwood Economic Development Payment. It's getting close.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Did you do the claims list yet?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. please.
Oh, I know why you got it, a little confused there, Tom, because there's 2 LBC things here.
Yes.
One under J and one under G.
Let's
So-
try J1 here.
Yeah, let's go to J1.
Claims list, yes.
that's on my way.
That's a motion for approval.
I
Questions
would,
of staff?
no, and including today's edition, I would move approval of the claims list as presented.
Thank you, Scott. Is there a second?
Second.
Mark. Moved and seconded to approve the claims list, and that is a voice vote, I hope. And all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're officially on J3 from our agenda.
2.
2, okay. And voting on the setting of wages and salaries for the Lester Burrish Center.
So what I've asked, this is actually doing 2 things. We have these personnel groups, these 5 personnel groups. I've asked Matt and Sarah to come up with new starting wages to compete not only with Fairway and everybody else that are coming to town, but being realistic with trying to keep our staff where they need to be, especially on the side of personal trainers. We've asked for new starting wages, so this will be a twofold approval. You're granting, or you would be issuing the new starting wage, which would be in the right-hand column for these 5 categories. On top of that, anybody that has been here for a year will receive a 4.5% increase on their current wage. So what's going to happen is they will get a 4.5% increase, and then they will, on top of that, get, if they're a rec attendant, because the starting wage is going from $9 to $9.50, they're going to get an extra 50 cents to make up the difference on the new starting wage. So
if they're $8.75, they would get 4.5% of that plus
Plus
50
50
cents. Gotcha.
And that is the only way that we went through this process a few times. It was the only way that we could keep employees that have been here for a while, separate from the new starting wage, because the new starting wage can increase between 8 and 12%.
Yeah, makes sense.
How was the hiring process for Katie this spring? Was it easy? I mean, a lot of applicants tough or?
No, I think it was moderate. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't difficult, but it wasn't easy. It was average.
Spots were filled?
Yeah. I think she hired almost everybody that applied. I don't think she was scraping for anybody at the beginning. And so far, everybody has stayed on board, so, yeah, it's
While we're along,
okay.
since you brought up Katie, I think it's important to point out just how much having Katie saves this community, because she can train the lifeguards. What did we say, it's like 3?
It's almost 400 per lifeguard.
375.
To go to
If we were to
class.
send them to the wire or wherever else,
Like,
It's
if
a
you do the
huge-
math on the
huge
lifeguards, yeah.
Right.
So, and most communities are paying that, obviously, to get kids to go, because they're not gonna pay $20 out of pocket to, for a pool for the summer. So, just a shout out to, I just need to point that out for her sake, how much she actually saves the money. So, if you happen to see some of her overtime wages, know that it's very much offset by,
Well, the institutional knowledge, I mean, I was thinking about this with Chief's words, and, the transition to officer from Chief Wins now. The institutional knowledge that Doug had and that Katie has with the pool, and I mean, it's invaluable. So above and beyond the CPR and the training and all this, especially as we go through the transition that we're in the midst of now, and having somebody who knows what's going on over there.
I do not know how she keeps it all straight, but somehow she does. So,
Having said all that, I would move approval of the proposed starting wages. One quick question, when would these take effect? Apologies.
July.
July 1. Having said that, I would move approval of the proposed starting wages for the LBC 5 categories of employees.
Thank you, Scott. Is there a second?
Second.
Moving second to move forward with the wages and salaries for the LBC. And if we were ready to vote on that, all in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? That motion carries. G3 is discussion consideration of CHI Cottonwood Economic Development Payment. Council action as needed.
So this has been approved a couple of times by council previously. The payment's $395,000 coming out of the LMI TIF fund. It was part of the original agreement to get that 33-unit complex under construction. If you haven't been by it, it looks gorgeous. I'm very happy with the finished product, and I don't want to sit here and say they have a waiting list, but I know people have been actively calling on this for the last year.
Is there an estimated time of moving?
My understanding was July,
that was August.
August.
Is that right?
Ribbon cutting's on August 22nd.
August, right? Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
That might be because of the corporate ribbon cuttings. The local CDG may have a separate ceremony. I'm not sure what they'll plan for that.
Two.
There are two. What Fairway's doing, I think. Okay. Any other questions about the opening and how it's going there? I think we need do we need action on this again?
Yeah, you'll need to make a motion to actually set the pay.
I would move to distribute the $395,000 of low to moderate income dollars to the CHI Economic Development.
Thank you, Greg.
Second.
And Scott. Moving second to move forward with the CHI Economic Development Payment. And if we're ready to vote on that, all in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? That motion carries. Discussion and consideration of appointing the Mount Vernon Fire Department Chief positions. Council action is needed.
No changes here, right?
Yeah.
No, just do 3-year terms.
Okay, so this is
Yeah.
having said that, unless there are questions or concerns, I would move approval of the fire chief appointments as presented.
Thank you, Scott.
Second.
Great. Is there a comment on this over here?
No, I just said, I don't know that anybody else is crazy enough to do it.
Okay.
I appreciate everything that they do, and it is a voluntary position. I mean, they get a stipend at best, but does not cover the amount of hours they put in down there.
Well, and again, not to say the same thing in another section of the meeting, but the institutional knowledge that those three names represent. I mean, the fact that this is at least the second time we've approved this same set, and it's probably the third or fourth. So it just speaks well of, I think, our entire public safety and city staff, frankly, that we have people that stick around this long. So, thanks to them.
And our chief could receive another, I can't remember the rank, is it?
Battalion
Commandant,
chief.
General manager, or?
Battalion
He's
chief.
got some new title, with the fire department in Cedar Rapids, so he keeps getting promoted, and again, the training that is available from those three on Monday nights is valuable. We've got a motion on the floor, I don't think we voted on this one, have we? To approve that slate of chiefs and assistant chiefs, ready to vote on it, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? That motion carries. J5 is discussion consideration of a John Deere 72-inch zero-turn mower. Council action as needed.
This will be not to exceed $21,000. That's the final estimated cost. P&K, John Deere, what our other models are, we've had a lot better luck maintenance-wise. All the things.
I know it was up earlier, do we expect to get anything from the old one?
Yeah, we'll get something from it, probably. Somebody will pick it up.
Yeah. Well, if there's no further questions, I move to approve, first John Deere 72 zero turn, no more than $21,000.
Second. Thank you, gentlemen. Move to second to move forward with the purchase. Ellen, do you have anything to add to it, or any comments, or is all that?
It's well needed. The Hustler, that Hustler is probably, was one of the older, well, it is the oldest one we have now, but it was, even when we had the other Hustlers, it was the older one. But they've utilized it to mow some of the rougher areas, like out at the public works site and stuff like that. But it's one of those things that's costing us more money to maintain than it is to just get a new one, so.
Part-time summer staff usually on that one?
Younger, yeah.
Not being judgmental there.
Nothing, not much on one of them.
I know.
Yeah.
Stereotyping a little bit there. Okay. All right.
Fresh young backs.
Well, and the mowers, I don't know. I don't know if they've been on a regular circulating.
Preventive maintenance program.
Yeah, yep.
Well,
Procurement plan.
is there a motion on this one yet, or ready to vote?
Yep.
We are.
Ready to go?
There's like some suspense for this mower.
We're ready to vote on this one.
We are.
All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Alden is more. All opposed? Thanks. That passes. Setting public hearing date for amendments is Chapter 91 water meters. Council action is needed.
Be set for July 7th. This will be an ordinance amendment that you will likely consider a $50 surcharge per month on non-compliant meter change-outs. Like I said in my report, there's probably less than 30 now that are still holding out, but the $50 doesn't even cover the cost that it requires us to send an employee out now to manually read that meter and or estimate their water usage, and we know that with an estimate, we're only taking an average, we're likely losing revenue. So that's what the $50 surcharge will be intended to cover. It's not a penalty per se, it's just to cover the expenses.
I would move to approve the public hearing date for the water meter sewage surcharge for July 7th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m.
Thank you, Craig. Second. Mark.
Quick question, would we, considering the small number of folks that this would directly impact, at least right now, could we send notice?
We would send notice as soon as the ordinance, so I believe the ordinance through that process, that approval process, would give a 30-day grace period to send notification to those that are not compliant before we issue the first one.
But they know who they are right now.
Yes, yeah, they do.
Are the 30 mostly rental properties, absentee landlords, same,
Some, yeah.
but not necessarily?
It's a mix. But I mean, they've received the same letters that every resident's received. They've received the door tags, you know, they've got all that communication.
There's not much mystery.
No, overall, I think it's less than 2%.
Yeah, it's,
We were under 2% now, so we just need to kind of cross that finish line.
Okay, we exhausted that topic? J7, we're moving on to this meeting, you're okay with that?
We need to vote on this one.
they need to vote on that.
Okay, J6, let's vote on it. The motion on the floor, by Craig and Mark. Ready to vote on the water meter projects, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Reports to be filed, Vernon-Lisbon Police Report. Anything to add?
The only thing to add in addition to what's in the report is Friday was our K-9 golf outing, and I unfortunately didn't be able to make that, but I hear Lori had a good time.
21 teams. I didn't play, but that's a lot of teams.
We actually turned down a couple teams because 20's the cap, and we snuck another one in. But I think we turned down two or three more teams yet.
I walked by there at 9:30 and you're just getting started. I drove by at 7 and Lori was still in the 8th hole.
I was at the clubhouse at that point.
Okay.
Tom was still there.
It was your doppelganger.
She was holding court as a couple.
Everything we heard was great and good feedback. Moved well and everything else. So thank you guys for being there and the city representing the team. And everybody took care of it.
Best dressed.
Oh, by far.
Nice.
What's going on?
Plus 4s? Knickers.
Knickers.
Yeah, oh,
Don't. Just leave it alone.
that was fun.
The news covered it fairly well, I saw.
Yeah.
Chief Blaine on there and,
Apparently it was on Channel 9.
the gentleman from Fairway
Yeah.
seemed to be very supportive of the entire program, speaking to the news, so.
Yeah, so huge shout out, like our sponsors are really what makes it happen and going through from that standpoint. Even our partners, like a lot of times, the people that come grill are volunteers that are connected with us somehow, so they just want to come down and be a part of it as well, so they volunteer to come cook and do different things from that standpoint. So again, as I mentioned earlier, public support is huge and very important for this event as well. So thank everybody who contributed or participated in any way.
Thanks to those who were in the media that did the KCRG report, so.
Yep. Jason did great with his first PIO event.
Yes,
So.
he did. He was very well
Good job,
struck.
Mr. Ray. Alderman Public Works report. Now, anything to add to report?
I have nothing to add.
Nothing to add? Any questions?
You started to cut a path for the trail.
Yeah, it's, all you gotta do is put some rock down on for the subgrade and it's ready to set worms and.
Is it going to stop right there? I thought it is going to go to Irish Lane, right?
Not this,
Not
not
this
this.
part.
Not yet.
We're gonna hold it for.
It's just going to go to the.
This is
recycling
a
area.
test of capabilities, how much time it consumes.
Got it.
We will focus on, would be the end of the Public Works property on Bryant Road East first.
Yep.
The elevations get a little bit more challenging as you go west. So
I did share pictures of what you had done last Tuesday or whatever day it was. With Lynn County Trails Associations and basically, and Lynn County Conservation and said, we're starting on our end. Your move. So, let's keep going on it. So,
Well, I was hoping to get form set and get that poured relatively soon, but now they finished the light bases downtown and I need to get some islands poured before Heritage Days, so now we've had to switch our focus a little bit, but.
You do what you do, so I'll stay out of the way. Any other comments about Public Works? Parks and Rec report?
Nothing to add.
Just one thing of note, on Parks and Rec, the pool will close Wednesday. We're anticipating 60% chance of thunderstorms and rain that day. So talking to the plumbing subcontractor and then Woodruff contractor. For those in the audience that haven't been privy to some of this information, there's some concrete that has cracked and given way. It's not structural, but it is problematic, obviously, and it will have to be fixed permanently in the fall. I think in the meantime, they're going to use the same kind of epoxy that we use on the water tower. When we're fixing various items there, it looks like silly putty, but it hardens after it's exposed. And then from a plumbing perspective, we're still chasing water usage, and we made some headway there. Definitely not there. And then next week,
The 26th.
the slide manufacturer is actually flying in to take a look at that configuration and make some corrective possibilities.
So it's closing Wednesday,
Correct.
for the silly putty epoxy situation.
Yes, and
But just Wednesday for that?
yes, so they're going to do that, and then there's some other items that they're going to correct while they're there. They needed about a four-hour window plus, and the plumber was like, as long as it's not lightning, anywhere near me, I'll come work. And I'm like, okay. So he has work underneath the shelter that he can do if there is severe weather nearby. He's got some other things that he needs to get done. So
And then it's the next week that the slide folks.
we'll be here to basically review the design and see if there's anything that they want to make changes to.
Pool chairs are like 2 weeks away.
I hope so.
Pretty enthusiastic affirmation there.
Yeah.
I got a call from my daughter today.
Not enough chairs?
Yeah.
Need more chairs. Public Works, tip I had to work on a sculpture garden. There's a lot going on down there. Just cleaning the area out. I didn't realize how much space there is still down there. You know, all the fence lines and how cleaned up it looks. And
Looks good.
that was sure.
Along that line, for those that have driven down there to take a look, please don't drive on the sidewalk.
Or park
On
there.
the sidewalk.
This is real.
You can park in Nature Park, then walk over and take a look. Yes, there are big red X's on some trees. Most of them are cottonwoods. There's one small walnut. One issue that we have several issues with the cottonwoods, but those cottonwoods and then the cottonwood that's actually on the railroad side near the pool are all going away this year. They have wreaked havoc in both the quarry and the pool. They've already been trimmed up by a line. They're not overly sturdy trees. They are native to Iowa, but they're not necessarily sturdy trees. And if you look at them, they've been trimmed up along the power lines. When derecho happened, they had a tendency not to break in half, but the root system basically gave out, so they blew over altogether. So made the executive decision that it's time to probably get rid of those, and we'll eventually replace them hopefully with harder woods.
I support your decision on the trees at a sustainability committee meeting. It was not a popular decision to see those red X's, but I said, this is the way it is, so move on.
Thank you.
Parks and Rec report. I mean, that was, for the same 4 reasons you gave in the correspondence there. You know, you wrote them all.
There was enough cotton in the pool this year
I saw, yeah.
to knit a lot of sweaters.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's what
It-
you
it really, we were, how many times were we
Oh.
changing out the filter
Oh
per
my
night?
gosh.
A lot, a lot.
Yeah. I don't know, last year was a bad year for walnuts, and this year was a bad year for cottonwood.
I think the maple trees this year too, the little helicopters that come on, are really crazy this year too.
We have way too many maples to take them all out.
Take that.
Not that- not that-
I think everybody
That's
excited,
not from the media.
That's nice.
All of a sudden, Fort Cottonwood seems reasonable.
Do we have to do with the cottonwood? Yes. Anything else for Parks and Rec and Elvin's? A personal thanks on starting the trail, because League of Women Voters event that Scott and I were at, when we were first ran for city council, I needed a long-term item, a long-term planning item. He picked internet access, hotspots downtown. And we had addressed that in about a month, right? Yeah. And mine was, I just picked an item out of the air, like, this will never happen, but I need to have something long range. Working on the American Trail, and we were there. And the onus is on everybody else to keep going on their side too, so, thanks for making me look good on that one, Alvin. Yeah.
I will say, so we're gonna, I did talk to Wrights and they didn't really want us, they're 100% in favor of the trail, but they wanted us to stop at their property line at this point and not go any further. And ITC was supposed to get a hold of me today. They have guy wires that are coming down directly in the trail on 2 different poles. They did not call me today and meet out there, so I'll give them a call in the morning and see if they forgot about me, but, we can bulkhead on both sides of the pole, on both of those poles and not pour that section until that's done, but it's not, the trail's not really going either, connecting to anything on either end at this point, so. But we'll get the majority of it in.
Hopefully they won't slow you up too much. Like
Yeah.
you see. Cole Library monthly report. Grace has got a lot going on there this summer. In our consent agenda, we recognized Sarah Doyle as a new member. She's replacing Tracy Hawaji in that library board, so things are going well there. Moving to reports, the mayor, council administrators. Mayor's report, I might add 2 things. First of all, sustainability. One thing they did do that I don't think ticked anybody off, but putting information in the information kiosks that Parks and Rec put up, a decade ago. There's information on the one that's Western Cornell football field and the one that's at Nature Park, that's most visible. So hopefully that'll get maintained every couple months and updated. The second thing is that I've had some discussions with Nathan about hosting the next group of U of I journalism students as they transition to Mount Vernon this fall and the start of their school year. There was a ceremony for them that was hosted by Solon at the end of the first year, and I wanted to make sure we took the opportunity to welcome them to Mount Vernon and Solon people come up here for that too, but to welcome them to town, and hopefully we'll get good reporting from them for the next school year. That's the only things I had there so far. Any other reports, mayor, council, administrator? You can add to your report, Chris?
No, just remember there's 5 Mondays in June.
Yeah.
So it'll be a little bit longer lapse.
We don't meet again until July.
Correct.
July 7th.
And then city offices will be closed July 4th. That holiday.
Any other comments? Anything else to mention for the cause? Otherwise, we are adjourned. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
I'll get there. Yeah, I'll get there. Jesus. That's a while.